Okay, so Jacob Quinn now is going to talk about HTTP.jl.
Okay, thanks. Hey everybody, good afternoon. So I'm Jacob Quinn. I work at Domo. Going to be talking about the HTTP package today that I've worked on for the last couple years, actually. So for those who don't know, the HTTP protocol, it's pretty much foundational to everything on the web today. As a quick glance, this is kind of what it looks like. There's a request, HTTP request, that has this form. There's a method. There's a path, which is like the URL. There's a version. You include some headers. And then you can also include some data down here if you're doing a different method that sends data. And then this is what a response looks like. So it says, you know, was I successful in responding to you? Did I know what you were talking about? Can I give you what you wanted? And also return some headers. So pretty simple format. It's text-based, but it pretty much is foundational to how everything on the web works. For example, if you were to, nope, not that. No, go away, go away. Nope, nope, no. Okay, let's just open it up manually. Like if you open up the web console, you can actually see things that are happening. So these are requests that are getting made from your browser to various servers around the world. And you can see that there's the URL, the method. You can see what the response looks like, if there's anything in the response. So that's just an example of how foundational. It's everywhere, and you know, you probably have to deal with it at some point in your life. So in terms of other libraries, you might be familiar with like curl and wget, fetch. These are HTTP clients, so they make requests for you. They talk the protocol. There's also servers out there, like Node.js has a built-in server. Nginx, Apache are very common. You can kind of just spin up a quick server and do stuff. So I'm going to talk about the history of HTTP a little bit. Back in like 2013, I think Stefan had a group of students at a hacker school that worked on it for the summer. And they put together these packages, parser, URParser, HTTP common server requests, to do some basic Julia stuff. The only issue was the students only worked on it for like 4 months, and then they like all moved on to other things, and the packages almost completely died and like didn't have any love for a long time. So I came along in about 2015, started my job at Domo, and I wanted to do Julia stuff. But fundamental to you know, the microservice architecture at lots of software companies today, cloud companies, is being able to run an HTTP server and make requests and do all of that very reliably. So that's kind of a foundational thing you need in the language if you're going to do something. So I tried to look at these a little bit, and it was a mess. There was duplicated code all over the place. There's a couple different things you can do. You can do streaming uploads if you just pass an IO type to the HTTP request method. You can send in a form, so you can support like multi-part form data in HTTP requests. You can also stream the responses. So you can essentially give it an IO for the response, and it will download, stream directly to a file if you want. We also do automatic cookie handling. So sometimes when you make a request, it'll come back, it'll have these cookies that the client is supposed to save and then reuse later. And so we take care of that automatically for you. And then we also have lots of options around connect timeouts and read timeouts and pipeline limits. So if you're running an intense application that's making lots of requests and then you get rate limited, you can actually build that into your requests to not go over a certain number of requests per second and things like that. We do automatic redirects. We handle all of the SSL layer transparently. So it's really great. On the server side as well, lots of options around connect and read timeouts on the server side, rate limiting based on IP address. You can do pipeline limits. You can also do the same streaming request and response from the server side. And then this is fairly new, it supports multi-core listening. So you can actually spin up a server on several worker processes, and they can all listen on the same port, and they will take requests as they come in. So you can do a multi-core server, in effect, in Julia. And then we also have the handler framework. So I wanted to give a quick example here. I got like 2 minutes? OK. So this is an example of a server app that I could run as an application. So what I'm going to do is I define a router, which is my app endpoints. So those are the URLs that you can call to me, and then I can respond in different ways. I'm going to register the URLs to my router. So I'm taking in the router. I'm saying a get method and a put method. Those are the URLs you have to call in your request method. And then the get cool stuff and put cool stuff, those are my actual functions that I've defined elsewhere that actually do the stuff that you're asking. So I'm registering these functions to respond to these REST endpoints. And then I also have this important thing where I'm going to authenticate everybody who calls me. I don't want to just respond to anybody. You need to be somebody I know about. Okay? And then how this all works is I'm going to call http.listen. I'm going to pass it this anonymous function, which calls http.handle on my router, and it handles the request. So let's work up the stack here. So I get a request that comes in. It's going to pass it to this first initial router. What I did here was I just said, register the catch-all method and send it to my authentication handler. So in this case, every single request that comes in, it doesn't get to these URLs first. It goes to my authentication handler. So this authentication handler gets called with the request. I can say, hey, go authenticate this request. And then I can, in this case, I'm storing it in a local context. Okay? In task local storage, I'm storing this authentication thing I get back. And then what I'm doing is I'm passing this request on to another layer. I'm passing it on to my application router. So then it can take it and handle, getting the cool stuff or putting the cool stuff and all that kind of stuff. So that's a quick example of kind of how easy it is to spin up a quick web app server that can respond to requests and do certain things. In terms of roadmap, we want to, now that we've smooshed all the functionality back together and cleaned it all up and it's all good and robust, we want to split a few pieces out because it's useful for sometimes for people to just have individual pieces of the functionality. And there's been talk of maybe putting a lot of this into the standard library of Julia, since it's kind of core and it's included in lots of other languages in the standard library. There's a few other related packages that all rely on HTTP now. You might be familiar. They allow you to do different things. But that's all I got. Thanks. Any questions?
Wait, we do have time for half a question, roughly.
Yeah.
I noticed on one of your first slides where you said that you support a lot of different protocols. Under the security protocols, you said insecure SSL.
So what that means is sometimes you're calling a server that doesn't actually support SSL, but it's listening on an SSL port.
I see.
And so what that does is, like they don't have a valid SSL certificate. And so you have to call using the SSL protocol, but you can't actually certify that it's valid. And so you can turn off the SSL verification. So it's using the SSL protocol, which is just another layer on top of HTTP, but it's not actually verifying. So you don't want to do it willy-nilly, but there are certain cases where, like, if you're working in a local dev environment, they might be running it as and you want to hit it without necessarily verifying.
Thank you.
Yeah.